April 15th, 2024. We'll call the meeting to order, beginning with a roll call. Christie?
Mayor Strick?
Present.
Daniel Albertson?
Present.
Megan Bondbrake?
Present.
Anthony Lesnickia?
Present.
Thank you. First item on the agenda today is consideration of the minutes from the previous meeting of April 1st. Is there a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Further discussion and consideration of the minutes from the previous meeting? Not hearing any at this time, we'll call the question in favor of adoption of the minutes as submitted. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you. First item under old business is looking to award Cottage Park and Jessup Street project. Is there a motion to bring that to the floor for consideration and adoption?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Director Kutchers.
Yes, thank you. If the board will remember, back on February 5th, we opened bids for the Cottage Park and Jessup Street project. This would be a project that improves the entire Home Place Edition neighborhood, consisting of Cottage Park and Jessup Streets. It's new water mains, sewer lining, installation of separate storm sewers, and complete street improvements along with sidewalk installations in that entire neighborhood. When we opened bids, because of the funding nature of this project, with some of the funds coming from Okra, we had to open it in two packages. Package one was for $3,747,046.61. Package two would be the water main portion of the project. That was for $1,050,885. The low bid on that project for both packages was from E&B Paving. It would be my recommendation at this time that we award the project to E&B Paving so that we can work through the contract documents and begin that project later this year.
Is there a motion to affirm the recommendation and award the contract to E&B Paving? Is
So moved.
there a second?
Second.
Further discussion and consideration on the recommendation to award the contract? Not hearing any at this time, we'll call the question in favor of awarding the contract as recommended. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you.
First item under new business is a special event request for Corvettes on Jefferson Street for August 10th later this year. Is there a motion to open discussion and consideration of the special events request?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Do we have anyone presenting the information for the board today on this?
So Corvettes, Mrs. Dill isn't here, obviously, and she ran it by Steve Kimmel, who she was doing it on her own this year because of the Downtown Association being dissolved. He helped her with the map, and I believe the map was redone to encompass Jefferson down to like the Smith Furniture Building, so that because Music in the City is also that night, which is over on Franklin, more with the Franklin parking lot across from the courthouse. So there'll be two activities going on downtown, I believe, in the evening.
And has the event request and paperwork been circulated to department heads?
Yes, all the department heads have signed off. I know there were a few questions. I believe those have been answered. If not, they'll get with Kathy.
Okay. Further questions or discussion by board members?
What's the time frame? Do we know what the time frame?
No, I don't know for sure. I didn't take a copy of it. We have I know it's in the evening, like I'm thinking like 3 or 4, 3 o'clock would be when they would close the downtown to the evening to like.
Okay.
Further question and discussion by board members?
last year, right?
And there were no issues or anything? All runs pretty smooth. Okay.
Negative about it, so that would be the same.
Okay, not hearing any further discussion, we'll call the question in favor of approval of the event, pending any further details and information that needs ironed out for executing it well. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries, thank you. Next item under special events is the PAL Baseball Parade on May 4th. Is there a motion to bring that to the floor for consideration?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. With that, we want to invite Assistant Chief Chris McCutcheon to the podium to present on behalf of PAL.
Afternoon, everyone. We're requesting to parade for the PAL on May the 4th. This year, we have 320 kids, about 28 teams, and we want to change our route a little bit from what we've done in the past. Normally, we've left from the high school. This year, we're going to leave from Hyers Park out of the 4-H grounds. Ben Spurgeon, the president, already spoke to Luke Miller out there and got permission to use the grounds out there. So the parade route would leave Hyers Park to Bryant Street, Bryant to Riverside Drive, and out to the PAL. Street closures for us to worry about on our end. The parade is estimated to start about 8:30 in the morning, and then opening day festivities at the PAL would be at 9 o'clock.
Questions by board members?
It's the same route that you've used in the past.
Not. So we have used the same similar to Huntington County baseball where it starts at the high school. And this year, the president wanted to switch it up a little bit. It's a little bit closer, a little less street closures for us to worry about as the police department. And we'll try it out this year and see how it works.
Take them on a loop through Circle Drive too?
Probably not this.
Okay, all right. Further questions? Not hearing any this time, we'll call the question in favor of approving the new parade route for the PAL Baseball Parade on May 4th. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you. Next item under new business, we do have a Fire Academy interlocal agreement. We'll have Chief Johnson present on that. Is there a motion to open discussion and consideration?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Chief?
Good afternoon. Just here to ask to allow the mayor to sign an agreement between City of Fort Wayne, City of Huntington. It's for our Firefighters Academy. We have 3 that will be attending this year. Something we've done for the last 5 years now, so going a little longer this year. They added a week, so it's 23 weeks, but they'll have everything they need when they finish the academy. Back to us.
Questions by board members?
No, about the 5th.
Oh, 5th.
Yep, 5th year.
How does this year compare to
Excuse me.
how many, compared to the number of people sent?
We're sending 3 this year. We've never sent any less than 2. It's always been 2 or 3 every year. We always try to get a couple paired up, but for consecutively the last 5 years, we've sent at least 2 or 3.
Do other surrounding cities send?
No, I've had a couple. Fort Wayne's asked me if I could talk to a couple chiefs, and recommend them. They've reached out, but I don't think anybody else. We got a really good relationship with Fort Wayne. They offer a lot of trainings for us. Got a couple guys going there next month for hazmat technician class. So they're really good at working with us.
Further questions by board members? Okay, not hearing any this time, we'll call the question in favor of approving the interlocal agreement for the Fort Wayne Fire Academy. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Thanks, Chief. Next item on the agenda is change order number 2 for long-term control plan projects 7 and 8. Is there a motion to open discussion and consideration?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Director Cutress.
Yes, thank you. Long-term control plan, project 7 and 8 is the large CSO interceptor sewer that's under construction right now on LaFontaine Street, working their way towards Tipton, soon to go across Tipton Street. Change order number 2 on this project is for a net increase of $234,605.81. What that covers on this is a list of a number of things. We've been working on compiling multiple items into this change order for a while now. It's the upsizing of some pipe along a specific section near the railroad tracks, as well as increasing the size of a couple of manholes to better handle the situation once the contractor started digging into it and figured out that some of our old sewer pipes are not round like they should be. They're now oval, so it required the additional replacement of a little bit of pipe and some extra manholes. It covers some of the work related with the removal of all of the sidewalk and the installation of gravel along Tipton Street as a temporary walking surface while the contractor works through there. So, covers a number of things. It would be my recommendation that the board authorize the mayor to sign change order number 2 for the long-term control plan.
Further discussion or question by board members?
Are these paid out of a contingency?
Yes, we had an 8% contingency on this entire project, which being a $34 million construction project, that leaves a rather large contingency. So these would come out of those funds.
Further questions? Okay, not hearing any more at this time. We'll call the question in favor of approving authorization to sign change order number 2 for long-term control plan projects 7 and 8. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you. And the next item on the agenda is State Street Culvert change order number 1. Is there a motion to bring that to the floor for consideration and approval?
Second.
Motion and second. Director Cutress.
Yes, thank you. The State Street Culvert project was a project completed earlier this year on State Street near Lindley Street. It was a complete replacement of the culvert underneath State Street. The project being complete, this was the first and only change order for this project. This is meant to adjust for final quantities now that the project's complete, as well as account for the liquidated damages that we assessed the contractor for exceeding their contract time. This change order is actually for a net decrease of $108,292.54. Like I said, we assessed liquidated damages because the contractor far exceeded their contract time, and it adjusted for final quantities based on how everything was built. So it would be my recommendation that the board authorize the mayor to sign change order number 1 for State Street culvert replacement.
Further questions by board members?
How long?
44 days.
Further questions? Not hearing any, we'll call the question in favor of approval of the change order as submitted for change order number 1, State Street Culvert. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving along the agenda, next item is under Order of Enforcement. We have 2 status updates. The first is for 1138 Swan Street. Is there a motion to bring the matter to the floor for discussion and consideration?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Commissioner Paul.
Yes, afternoon. Current owner took possession of the property on January 31st, 2022, and it's Hess & Hess LLC, 5351 East Thompson Road, Indianapolis, Indiana. This one has went on for a while. So I'm happy to report that they did finish everything. And it'd be my recommendation to release the order of enforcement along with that previously assessed fine of $2,500 for the willful failure to comply.
So we do have a recommendation to release the order of enforcement and also the $2,500 fine that was assessed by the board for willful failure to comply. Questions and discussion by board members? Commissioner Paul or Mr. Hartberg, help me recall, with 1138 Swan Street, was this the situation where we literally had the owner walk in and say, "I will not do any of this," and then walk out on us? Recall, Commissioner Paul?
I believe he did say that, yes.
Yeah, I think that's what led to assessing the fine, is that correct?
Correct.
And how long ago was it that, that we began that order of enforcement process with the owner?
The actual order of enforcement was issued on May 5th, 2022. The fine was assessed on June 6th. We had sat down with their attorney and our attorney and hashed out a good plan to resolve the situation and put them on a timeline that they agreed to and got us where we needed to be.
In that agreement, did we agree to get rid of the fine?
It was just sitting there this entire time. It was never took action on as
Okay.
far as revoking it.
I believe the agreement left discretion to the board.
Okay.
Did they have another deadline upcoming that they've completed everything before a deadline?
Today was their deadline to have everything done. I was there. I apologize, I didn't get pictures. It hadn't had the final cleaning and it looked, the pictures wouldn't have done it justice. Had a lot of debris and construction debris, and they're still installing the kitchen cabinets and everything, all the bathroom vanities and everything. I went by today and he's got a dumpster there, so the pictures wouldn't have done it.
Further question or discussion by board members? So the board at this time can obviously act to release the order of enforcement and also to waive the $2,500 fine, or the board can release the order of enforcement and retain the $2,500 fine. So I'd entertain a motion for either option.
I can't personally speak on the fine, so I will leave that up to the rest of you. It's the storming out.
It's a long file to review, huh? What happens when it takes 2 years for compliance?
Yeah.
So the option would be a motion to release the order of enforcement and revoke the $2,500 fine, or to release the order of enforcement and maintain the $2,500 fine.
With the attorneys involved, how was that
So anything on the city side will be handled by the city accounts. This is subject to a settlement agreement that just said, keep working on it, and allowed them this lengthy timeline to comply with it. But it did not pertain to resolving the fine.
So,
So the city has incurred real costs in moving through a 2-year process with this property owner.
that's, there needs to be some, maybe not a fine for not completing, but maybe because we had to go far enough that the attorney had to be involved. There should be some, yeah. Yes. So, I don't know if we want to come up with a different dollar amount or maintain that amount. I don't know how much time was involved.
I think if the board were to adjust the dollar amount, you'd be straying into territory where you're arbitrarily adjusting it, proceeding with it. Mike. That either stick with the original amount or revoke it.
Release the order of enforcement, keep the fine. Second that.
We have a motion and second to release the order of enforcement on 1138 Swan Street and uphold the $2,500 fine for failure to comply. Further discussion and consideration? Not hearing any. We'll call the question in favor of the motion. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you. Next property pertains to 323 Hannah Street. Is there a motion to open discussion and consideration?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Commissioner Paul.
Yes, the property owner is Tabitha Broche, 323 Hannah Street. That order of enforcement was issued on September 15th, 2023. At the time, there were 13 unsafe violations, 11 minimum housing violations, with 12 corrective measures for compliance. Originally had a deadline date of October 14th, 2023. My notes here, sorry. As of Friday, they had completed installation of the roofing materials on the rear lower roof. They had not finished installing the soffits or fascia in that area. I talked to Timothy this morning. That one corner right there, they finished the fascia and put the gutter, installed the gutter back on, but the soffit underneath there has not been finished. And on the alley side, the gable end, there's some fascia that's off that I asked that he have been installed. That would wrap up the exterior violations. The interior violations have not been fully completed yet. Which on the corrective measures for compliant list is 8, 9, 10, and 11.
And the health department did release their order of enforcement, is that right?
Yes, they had released their order. Oh. Date on it, but yes, they did release. Here's the other notes I had. The order's been in effect for 213 days. The owners have received 3 modifications to allow additional time. Numbers violation, the corrective measures for compliance numbers 1, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11 have not been fully completed. Remains 5 of the 12 the original 12 corrective measures for compliance have been completed.
And I'm sorry, Commissioner Paul, have you had any further inspections on the interior since the initial walkthrough and order?
I was inside one time just to take pics. A lot of the debris on the interior had been cleaned out.
Okay. How long ago was that?
Probably December
December?
of last year. Probably closer to.
Any questions for Commissioner Paul by the board members?
I was on the exterior Thursday or Friday.
Pictures from then.
Yes. Piece of fascia.
We do have the property owners present. If you'd like to make a statement to the board at this time, I invite you forward to the podium. You'd state your name and address for the record, please. Okay, and go ahead and adjust that microphone so you can speak right into it there. And then if you can update the board on efforts you've made towards compliance since the last meeting 2 months ago when we gave you the previous extension, please.
A lot of it done. The inside, it really just needs the floor, polyurethane and stain, because we resanded every floor. And the laundry room where the roof was caved in, we took everything out of that. The kitchen ceiling getting ready to be ripped out because it destroyed that. And then we get ready to hang up drywall in the laundry room. And then we just finished the insulation in it earlier today. That whole laundry room got insulation inside. I really didn't even pay attention to that fascia that I had missing.
What's the status of the plumbing fixtures in the kitchen and the bathroom? And they're clean, sanitary, and in good working order? And you said that the interior ceiling on the kitchen has been torn out, but not replaced yet?
Yep, because we're getting drywall at once in the laundry room and that room.
Do you have the drywall? Okay, okay.
You can come in and look at it whenever you want.
Did you get an HVAC inspection on your heating? Have you reached out to anyone to have that done? Okay. What's the situation right now as far as pests, rodents, fleas, anything? You're still keeping all that clean?
Yep.
When's the last time you gave an update to Commissioner Paul on the status of things? Okay. And did you get an update this morning too, Shad? Okay, all right. So then since 60 days ago, we've only heard from you twice. And in the meantime, it seems like there's still some pretty outstanding issues with it. Is everything weather tight now? Have you got all the water?
Oh, yeah.
You don't have more water intrusion?
That's why it's been actually big old rainfall.
Okay. I appreciate your invitation for Commissioner Paul to come by and inspect it at any time. Is that something that you can get scheduled with him in the next week? Okay. And that's gonna be on you to get that scheduled with him and get into his schedule. Is that, you can work with that? Okay. How would board members feel about an extension of 2 weeks to the next board meeting with an update based on Commissioner Paul being granted access for a full walkthrough and inspection to see where things are at? In the meantime, I know Ward's Heating and Cooling is very responsive, so get them out there for that inspection on the HVAC, because they really just need to sign off on that. That one's pretty easy for you guys to knock off the list. Now, if they identify issues that need resolved, they'll need resolved, but in the meantime, how quickly can you get that fascia taken care of on the outside?
And get that taken care of pretty quick. I'm working on outside right now.
Okay. How about the material and the debris on the front porch and the yard for your
Oh, yeah,
neighbors?
that's all getting ready to leave.
How soon? Today?
Yep.
Okay. Where's it going?
There's my shed, that all right there, we just got that a couple days ago, that's ours.
Okay.
We take that to where we're staying.
Because if we're gonna do you guys a solid by extending this so we can see some further progress and inspection, do a solid by your neighbors, okay? All right? Board, you open to that consideration?
Yes.
Okay, so we want a full update and status in the next meeting, 2 weeks from now. What's the date on that, Christie? May 6th, so it'll be the May 6th meeting. In the meantime, I want you to schedule with Commissioner Paul before you leave the building here today on when he can get out there and inspect everything on a walkthrough, okay? We have a motion to provide an extension to May 6th pending those inspections.
So moved.
Motion and second. Further discussion and consideration? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Okay. Do you have any questions for us? Okay, so we need to see that improvement. Otherwise, the next meeting is where we have to start looking at, actually looking out proposals for demolition. And I don't want to see it come to that, okay?
It'll be
I know you don't want to see it come to that either.
I put a lot of money into it so far.
Yeah, that's right. Let's see the job through, okay? All right, have a good day.
Thanks.
Next item on the agenda under miscellaneous, we have a request from Mr. Michael Daly, who's here with us today, requesting an exception to dive into Memorial Park Pond. And so with that, is there a motion to open discussion and consideration?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Mr. Daly, go ahead and state your name and address for the record, please.
Michael Daly, 4041 Grange Hall Road, Holly, Michigan, 48442.
Go ahead and say that address again for us, please.
4041 Grange Hall Road, Holly, Michigan, 48442.
All right, Mr. Daly, tell us more about your request.
I'm retired and I've been on the road for 6 months. I've been all through North Carolina, Florida. I work with local clubs to retrieve disc. I've been doing it in Michigan for 35 years. Finally found something I really enjoy doing. And it's also rewarding because I help out the disc golf community by returning disc. I will text every number before I leave a town. And I'll hide the disc. I'll work with the local club. There's a, what is it called, TCB Gaming right here in town. Recently found 400 disc in Markle, and I got permission from Trent there. And I dropped 10 disc off to TCB, and then several people have already met me. I'll ship them or do whatever it takes. just met a lady that asked me to look for her husband who just passed away. His name was Bobby Cooper, and she met me just outside the front of the court here, where she asked if I could look for his disc, and I found 2 of them, and she got quite emotional about it. And to me, it's about doing the right thing, and then sometimes people tell me to keep them, or if I can't return them, I sell them. But I do whatever it takes, and it's rewarding to just kind of help out the community. And then it, gets lost, plastic from, that's just gonna sit there and rot, in the lake, get it out of there.
Board members, do you have any questions for Mr. Daly regarding his request of the board today? We'll have more information to present from you from the city side of how the process would actually work here, but.
Sell the discs?
No, one thing I've done, I've been doing it for 35 years in Michigan. I do mention, because now that I do this full-time, that I do take donations. If they want to thank me, usually $5 or whatever, but I don't hold their disc ransom to get it back. And even the ones without numbers, I'll hold on to until I leave a town and let the local people, maybe say, hey, did you see this? I'll do the best I can even with those.
So how, this sounds more like a Bryn question. How deep is our pond up there, do we know?
I'd have to go
Oh,
back
do you
and
know?
Well, several people mentioned that one of the areas is, it's not really deep. They wade, and then there's one area on 14 that is a little deeper where my tanks may pay off a little more.
Okay, so are you like a certified scuba
Yeah, I
diver?
have 3 certifications.
Okay, good, because that was gonna be my question. Are you gonna, I don't want you going up there and like drowning in our pond and
Right,
that falls
well-
on the city and then, we're in trouble.
That's what we were
So-
gonna get in the city side.
Well,
of
like
the
I was just
process.
at Marco, and there were limbs and trees, and compared to that, this course is a lot easier. I've learned
Okay.
it, been doing it long enough to learn to stay calm and relaxed, and I always have someone from the local club with me.
Good.
So
Okay.
people
You're not
don't think I'm
alone.
just
Yep.
coming to poach their disc and
Okay,
leave town.
okay. So you're certified and you're not alone. That's good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and I will sign a waiver if necessary.
Okay, there we go.
So there are,
Yes.
Further questions for Mr. Daly? Mr. Daly, you're welcome to have a seat there. We've got some more materials for the board to consider on this before they
Oh, for sure. Okay.
proceed with it.
Thank
So,
you.
thank you. Mr. Harper?
Appreciate it. I believe the board members were provided with a couple of pertinent sections from the city code. There is a general prohibition from people getting into city parks, and then there is an exception available if the board thinks that it's something that it would be willing to make an exception for. It does it by resolution. Having heard from Mr. Daly, appreciate his willingness to sign a waiver. If the board's inclined to grant the exception, I think I would want to draft a resolution on the board's behalf specifying the scope of what's going on. I mean, I understand retrieval of discs. What we're talking about, Anthony made an allusion to that just a second ago, that we're talking about the 2 ponds in Memorial Park, not going outside of that. And then a requirement that Mr. Daly sign a waiver, indemnification, that kind of thing. So if the board's inclined to move forward with an exception, that would be what I would bring back. It'd be a resolution, waiver and indemnification attached to it. He would sign. So that's how I would go about it. Happy to answer any questions you got.
is that a one-time thing?
Oh, it would be, the way I drafted it, it would be one time in a very limited time frame.
Like a weekend?
I was gonna actually get a notion, I mean, I was thinking like no more than 60 days. Just so there's an end point to it at some point, but I don't know, if it should be 2 weeks, that's fine with me. Or if it should be 3 months,
That's an
I don't care as
expiration.
long as there's a end date to
Right.
it. Just so there's not a question lingering later on. Speaking of which, what would be a good time frame? Okay. But the time frame that it would need to be effective, about how long do you think it'd take? Okay. All right. So I'd just have some time frame that would, so that we knew it was done.
Give them a punch card.
Yeah.
So we do need an indication from the board. Would I look for a motion to authorize Mr. Harburg to bring back a resolution for you that would accurately allow Mr. Daly's request to be granted within the given time frame for him to retrieve the discs from the ponds? Is there a motion to that effect?
Second.
Motion and second. Further discussion and consideration of the motion? Call the question in favor of directing Mr. Harburg to bring back a resolution pertaining to the matter. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is accounts payable. Is there a motion to authorize payment of the bills incurred by the city of Huntington?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Further discussion and consideration? Call the question in favor of approving payment of the bills incurred by the city of Huntington. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Thank you. Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second for adjournment. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Okay. Got it. I actually tried drafting it before I came here, and